So today I'm going to be giving a tour of my butterfly garden. So this plant bed I started working on about a year ago. Started with this original group of plants. I have Coreopsis, two purple coneflowers. I've got, if you come over here, I've got a butterfly weed that's just come back from dormancy. It's got aphids all over it. I have a sage plant and a Stokes aster. That one is a magnet for bees. I see them on it all the time. Over here, I have a red salvia. And then if you look closely right here, you can see there's a cocoon right here from a Gulf fritillary caterpillar. Looks like a dead leaf hanging right there. First time I've ever had one of those. And then over here, I have a bunch of vines over here in this corner. This first one, this is a white milkweed vine. It attracts monarch butterflies. The caterpillars will eat it. I finally got it on a trellis, so it'll finally start growing upwards. Hopefully it fills this whole thing. Over here, this is one of my 3 passion vines. This is the one that actually produces passion fruit. And the flowers, I believe, are purple and white, so hopefully it gets to a point this year where it puts flowers on. Right here, I just cut this one down this morning because it was a sick plant. This was the corky stem passion vine. It had at least 25 caterpillars on it. I moved them all to one of my other vines so that I could cut this one back. And if you come over here, this is one of my favorite additions to the garden. Right here I have 2 pentas for nectar plants. But if you look up under here, I found some rare velvet leaf milkweed seeds on eBay, and I germinated them indoors and then transplanted them outside here. All but one of them has survived so far, and they're all growing really well. You can see these ones back here in the corner. They have several sets of leaves on them. And then next up, we've got this planter here. I just finished filling this up in the past couple of weeks. I have pencil flower for the barred sulfur caterpillars, wild petunia, I believe that attracts common buckeye and white peacock butterflies. I have 2 different colors of blanket flowers, both of which are very, very sad right now, and I'm working on that. And then these 2 were put up here last year. These are bronze fennel for black swallowtail caterpillars. I've yet to see those in the yard in the past year or 2. I used to have a dill plant in a pot that got caterpillars on it once, but I haven't seen any on the fennel yet. So if you come around here to the front of this plant bed, this was an extension I made on it a few weeks ago. I germinated some seeds for chicory flowers indoors. These, they look kind of similar to the Coreopsis flowers over there, except they're going to be like a light blue color. And I have 2 here and 2 over there. In the middle, these are some more milkweed seeds that I started inside. I'm in zone 9 in central Florida, which is also in the hardiness zone for Arizona milkweed, which is a heat-loving species, I read. So I started these inside, planted them out here, and they're both, especially this one, they've just exploded. So I'm very happy with that. Over in this corner here, I've got an elephant ear plant in a pot here. I'm trying to find a place to put it still. This is a scarlet bee balm plant. I saw tons of this growing in the mountains up in Tennessee when I was on vacation there a year ago. And I looked the plant up online, and it's hardy up to zone 9, which is where I live again. So I mail ordered one, planted it, and it's just taken off. It's filling this whole space I gave it. Over here, this plant bed's still a work in progress. I have a cut leaf coneflower plant here. I got this at a botanical garden at my university I go to, at USF. and it's starting to get some new leaves on it, so hopefully it keeps doing well. It looks like it got a little bit of sunburn because it's been really hot out lately. And then right here, this is another butterfly weed that's trying to survive here. It's not doing so well though, so I'll probably put something else there. This one's really cool. This is a star jasmine shrub that I got at Home Depot a couple of years back. It was pretty much the ugly duckling of all the plants they had, and once I put it in here, I fertilized it a bunch, and it's taken off. It's starting to fill this whole space. And if you come up here closer, you can see all the bunches of flowers on it. They look like stars, hence the name. Over here, we just have some more nectar plants. I've got some purple salvias and pentas on each side of the crepe myrtle tree here. And then this one has been huge for attracting butterflies. This is the royal red butterfly bush. I got that one from a butterfly plant website a year or two ago. This over here is the most recent plant bed I've been working on. So over here, I have some black-eyed Susans. These have just exploded. I got some red cone flowers. I wanted to get those for a couple of years, mail ordering them, and they kept going out of stock before I could get them because they were rather expensive. It was like $30-something to get one plant. So I finally got it this year, and it's done pretty well. I have right here, I got this bee house from Amazon. Well, it was intended to be a bee house. It's turned into a wasp nest. I don't know if you can see the one that keeps flying back and forth across it. Some more flowers here. I've got another blanket flower variety. This one's doing a lot better than the two in the planter, so I don't know why that is, but I'm happy with that. And then I have dianthus right here. And then if you look further back in the plant bed here, this is another one I got at the botanical garden. This is a Chapman's goldenrod. It should bloom in, I think, late summer or early fall. It'll get about this tall and put out yellow flowers. Another nectar plant. I have two tropical milkweeds. I know tropical milkweed isn't the best option for raising caterpillars. These two are mainly just kind of a fill-in until my native kinds get growing, because I started all of the native ones from seed. So these are the only two tropical ones I plan on owning.
Any eggs?
Let's see if there's some eggs on here. Usually to find the eggs, you have to look up under each leaf, and you'll just see like a white speck on there. I know I've seen tons of monarchs out here. There was one on the butterfly bush back there. I don't see any eggs on here currently, but I know there's been a lot of monarchs out here, so there should be very soon. This is another plant that I got as an impulse buy. This, I'm pretty sure, is a calico aster. I got it at the USF Botanical Gardens. It's already put out a whole cluster of flowers here. I looked it up online to see what it would look like. It's supposed to just grow as this big mound of these like yellow and white or red and white flowers. So I'm looking forward to when that one gets big. This is another bed for mostly nectar plants. This was, I think it's called a Euryops flower. I got that one at Lowe's, another impulse buy. Whenever I go to garden stores or Home Depot or whatever, I always get plants. I always come back with plants. And then if you look closely here, last year I had some native milkweeds that I mail ordered here. They both got spider mites and died though. I thought I dug up all the roots from those when I planted this, but apparently I hadn't. This is a world milkweed, so I'm waiting for this to get larger and then I'm gonna move it elsewhere in the yard. And then this one has probably the most interesting story out of all my plants. This is a New England aster plant. I found a variety of it that is hardy up to zone 9 because usually most aster plants are only up to zone 8 except for native kinds. But I found this cool one online. And when I mail ordered it, it came in completely dried up, and I cut it all the way back to the ground, planted the root ball, and a year later it has its first stalks with flower buds coming up on it. So that is very interesting. It pretty much came back from the dead. I have my verbena plant right here. This one is an absolute magnet for butterflies. If you're trying to start an at-home butterfly garden, I highly recommend finding this. And then this one is also coming back from dormancy. This is Autumn Joy sedum. I got that one a year ago as well. And then some more milkweed seedlings here. These are aquatic milkweeds. You can see on some of the leaves how it's like a reddish purple color. That came about after I transplanted them. It's usually a sign of stress on the plant. So being moved from indoors to out here in Florida where we're in the middle of a drought and it's 90 degrees on a regular basis, that's why the leaves look like that. But they've all acclimated quite well. They've grown a lot since I put them out here. And then this one was another plant that pretty much came back from the dead. This is a northern spice bush for the spice bush swallowtail caterpillars. This was a stick in a pot until 2 weeks ago. That's the best way I can say that. And look how many leaves it's got on it. I thought this thing was dead, and it just took off. So it has pretty much enough leaves to host a caterpillar or two right now, so maybe the butterflies will find it this year. I saw a spice bush swallowtail on a bike ride one time, but I've never seen one in my yard here. This has been my most recent project. I'm calling it the Great Wall of Pipevine because these are all different varieties of pipevine plants, and they're supposed to fill up these tomato cages, and just this whole area is going to be green right here. This is the woolly Dutchman's pipevine, which is a native variety to Florida, host plant to the pipevine swallowtail. I put this in here just over a week ago. Look how many times it has wound around this one hole right here and how many leaves it's put out already. And this one right here is about to latch on as well. So this one is an extremely fast growing plant. These two are other pipevine varieties, although the leaves obviously look quite a bit different. These ones are more tropical varieties. And with the tropical pipevine varieties, you have to be careful and pay attention to exactly which species you get, because some of them are toxic to the caterpillars. This one is a fragrant Dutchman's pipe, and this one is, I think it's called Brazilian Dutchman's pipe. This one I got from Etsy, that one from eBay. So hopefully both of those make it as well. These two will both be a host plant to the pipevine swallowtail, as well as the gold rim swallowtail. The woolly pipevine will only host the pipevine swallowtail. And then another one that I have up here in this planter on my fence, that is a white vein pipevine, which is a host plant to both species as well. So I'm hoping this will fill up the whole container and maybe come down over the sides. I think that'll look really cool. And then one more thing back here before we go out front. This is an endangered plant to Florida. This is southern frog fruit. It's not the same as the turkey tangle frog fruit, which is the species you see growing in like lawns and ground cover everywhere. This one's an endangered species. I found it at a native nursery, and I put it in this hanging basket here. It needs some water. You can tell by it kind of being drooped over. But this is also a host plant to the Phaon crescent, common buckeye, and white peacock. So hopefully I get some of those. I'm actually looking to find a place in my yard where the soil stays more wet, where I can plant this, because that's the conditions it likes. So I don't know exactly where that's going to be yet, but for now I'm just watering it every day in this hanging basket to keep it going. So now we're going to head outside the gate here for a plant that I actually just put in today. So I'm not done working on this yet, but as you can see, there's another passion vine here. This is the lavender passion vine. It looks very sad right now, but I fertilized it after I planted it, so hopefully it doesn't die. I have a few Gulf fritillary caterpillars. If you look right here, here's a pretty good sized one. You see the orange caterpillar with the black spikes right here? That is the Gulf fritillary butterfly caterpillar. Now, the fritillary butterflies, they look similar to monarchs. They're both orange and black, except the fritillary caterpillar is more orange than black. It doesn't have stripes, it just has dots on it. They're like those small orange ones that you see flying around, so that's kind of how you can tell them apart. Like up close you can tell an obvious difference, but from far away it doesn't look as different. And I believe there's two more caterpillars on here somewhere. They're both very little, so they're going to be very difficult to find. I just moved one over here earlier, actually, from another plant. And I have no idea where it is, so we're going to keep going. Actually, my mom just pointed this out to me. There's one right here on the ground. So what we're going to do, this one doesn't look like it's big enough to cocoon yet. So we're going to try and get him up on some mulch and get him on the plant. Sometimes they're very stubborn. You kind of just have to scoop them up. There he goes. I hope he wasn't trying to crawl off and cocoon and I misjudged that. He's going to be very upset with me for putting him all the way back up here. So if I see him on the ground again, I'm just going to let him do his thing. Over here, this is another kind of tropical milkweed plant. This actually came up from seeds that got into the yard, so I've just kind of left it alone. You can see on this one back here, on some of the leaves, you see all the white specks on it. That is spider mites. That is very, very bad to have on your milkweed. So what I do is sometimes I come out here and I just turn on this hose reel because it's not on all the way. Spider mites like it very hot and dry, no humidity, no moisture. So I just kind of spray the plants with that, and that scares them off. This is another milkweed plant that came up from seeds. This one has hosted a few caterpillars already this month. I don't know if there's any on it right now, but what I can show you, if you come up close right here, you see all these yellow bugs. Those are oleander aphids. They absolutely love milkweed. And then actually there is a caterpillar right there. You see where the end of my finger is right there? That's a very small monarch butterfly caterpillar. I don't know if there's any larger ones that I can show you, but that is the monarch caterpillar that I have currently. And then Next, this is one of my cassia plants. This is a host plant to the cloudless sulfur and orange barred sulfur butterflies. It has grown a ton since I put it in this pot. It came as just a little sapling. It's gonna grow as a whole topiary here pretty much. It doesn't have any caterpillars on it right now, but obviously whenever the butterflies find it, there's plenty of leaves. It's doing very well, it's very healthy. And then the last butterfly plant that I have to show you, this is another passion vine that I mail ordered because fritillary caterpillars love nothing more than eating a lot. This is the blue crown passion flower, so I'm gonna find a place to put this one eventually and let it get big before it can host caterpillars. But for now, it's just up here in the shade. So that is pretty much all I have. That is what my butterfly garden looks like.